I'm going to take the last question, Senator, and it's something about this great institution, the House and Senate. Having been on the Hill more than 32 years, I'm worried about the institution. How do we get back to a degree of civility? Is it only in the House? Are you experiencing the same thing in the Senate? And do you guys have any idea how we can do this? How do we start promoting so that when you go home, people aren't saying, can't you just do the work that you're supposed to do? So are folks talking about this over in the Senate, or is it just something that we all just have to accept going forward?
Well, I'll say a couple things. When I was on the Rules Committee for 2 years, Deb Price said, don't do it, and I did it. But anyway, David Dreyer was the chairman of the Rules Committee. And he said to me, pulled me in, he said, I want you to create a civility caucus. That was in 2004. I said, okay. And I got Manuel Cleaver to be my my Democrat counterpart, and we did civil debate on the floor. We tried to get people. Well, we got 19 people in the civility caucus. There were 189 in the wine caucus. I mean, it was an uphill struggle back then. You know what I think? Unfortunately, the one thing that does draw us always together is a crisis. And I don't want to wait for the next crisis before we all hold hands and jump together. Because we know if we don't have some sort of external crisis on Homeland Security, we're going to have an internal fiscal crisis with Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And so that solution has got to come from all of us, or for both of us, because one party can't jump off that cliff, or it's too deep a cliff for one party to do. So that's one way that we get back together. But I hope that's not the only option that we have. I don't know. I mean, I'm not all that discouraged about it. I mean, it's easier in the House to have, it's much more relationship driven in the Senate than it is in the House. Because in the House, you're sort of siloed to your committees, or siloed to your region or to your party. And so you really, in the Senate, you have such a broad reach into just about everything, if you wanted, that it does create opportunities for relationships across the aisle on all kinds of different. I mean, I'm on, Elizabeth Warren and I have a bill on some of the opioid issues. I have worked with Gillibrand on the PFAS issue. I work with Peters a lot on some of the financial issues. So we do have those opportunities, but it's just, I think the 24-hour news cycle just is killing us, because it promotes the anger and the negativity, because you don't see me on there going, yes, we're gonna all work together and it's gonna be great, and they're like, boring, change the channel. Revenues aren't gonna be driven by civil discourse. They're driven by conflict, I think. I mean, my husband goes, what is the deal with breaking news? Everything is breaking news. And you hear it, oh, breaking news, and then you think, I just heard that 5 or 6 hours ago. That's not breaking news. But, that's just what, I just think that, and I don't think we get away from the media. I mean, it's only going to keep going and going. It's Twitter, and obviously with the president, what he does with his tweeting, and it's just a new day, and it's faceless sometimes. You can say mean things. I don't even read my comments on Kelly can probably tell you my Facebook. I said I don't read the comments on Facebook. She goes, don't. So you see it. Our local our statewide radio used to have comments on every article, and they stopped doing it because it just got so nasty. And I thought, well, there's one way to kind of rein it in. Just don't allow it. But I don't see where we're going to get back to. I think we'll get back to where we need to be. I think tone is really important, and it's through every aspects of the government, whether it's the legislative branch, the executive branch, and I think we need to set a new tone, and we can reset. I asked Rumsfeld one time, is this the worst that's ever been, partisanship? Because he was in Congress in the 60s with my dad. And he really put it in perspective for me. He goes, in 1968, we had school buses in front of the White House blocking people with people yelling, hey, hey, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today? We had D.C. on fire when Martin Luther King was murdered. So that kind of gave me some perspective of a really rough, tough, and bad time in our nation, and we were able to kind of pull it together. So I'm going to continue to be civil and funny and optimistic because I believe in the country, I believe in the institution, and I believe in the goodwill of just about everybody that's here. Maybe we have a different perspective on how to get there. Maybe some of us are more political than others. But at the end, we're Americans. We have good hearts, and we just have to keep playing to the better the better angels of our own hearts, and that's our country. So I'll end on that.
Shelley, thank you.